Hey guys, welcome to another JaYoe conversation. We're going to start off with a bit of a light conversation, but then we're going to get into the serious topic that I really wanted to make in this video. First, check this place out. It's a exhibition where people can show their artwork and everything. It's been here for a long time. I'm at a place called Moon Lake in Ningbo. My name's Matt, by the way. Welcome to the video. I live in China. I've been here for about 10 years. And when I first moved here, I was walking through a park, actually Tianyi Square, which is on the other side of this area I'm at right now, and somebody snapped a picture of me. It was back in the days when foreigners were a little bit more of an oddity in China, and people took pictures of me all the time. And I didn't think much of it until I came to this place at Moon Lake, and they had an art exhibition. And it was focused on unique photography from all over Ningbo. And people had submitted pictures, and the competition ensued. There was a first, second, and third place. I came here because I was informed that I might find this photography exhibition competition uniquely interesting for me. And it was interesting because I ended up going into this building and looking at the pictures. Very nice pictures of people doing interesting things in Ningbo, black and white, artistic pictures, this and that. But first prize for the competition was a picture of me. So it was that picture that the person had taken in Tianyi Square that had won the competition. And I had nary a clue that my face was going to be emblazoned with that #1 ribbon. Anyways, Moon Lake has been a very important part of my life for many, many years. It's a beautiful, beautiful lake that has been a fixture in Ningbo for like 1,000 years. They used to use this lake actually as a container of water, and there was many sort of gates here, and so in ancient times they used this lake as a reservoir to sort of irrigate and feed the city with some water when they needed it. I've been around water my entire life. When I was younger, very, very small kid, I started swimming. I lived in an area around southeast Michigan, around Detroit. Michigan itself is surrounded by some of the largest lakes in the States, the Great Lakes. And so I have a relationship with water. I have had that relationship for a very long time. I swam since I was 9 years old, and I just kept swimming. High school, I was captain of my swim team, and I even coached kids. I coached adults. In university, I swam as well. And I carried the ability of swimming with me. It's like in my blood. I am part fish, to be honest. And in China, I continued my swimming adventures. I did a lot of swimming here. So when I saw a story on Chinese social media about the tragedy of a young lady who committed suicide by drowning herself in a lake, it was uniquely tragic to me because it didn't have to happen, and I was very sad. The reason I found out about it, though, was tragic because the story has been spread around pretty much all over the world, and opinions have been made about the story. And one of the opinions was that Chinese people will never raise a finger to save you. They can't swim. They won't help you in need. So, China, damn it, you better learn how to swim, you people. Most of you can't swim. So you better get shamed into swimming. Now, I was lucky enough to learn how to swim at an early age. I've been swimming, like I said, for a very long time. I've also taught a lot of people how to swim, and I have seen the fear in the eyes of people who can't swim. It's something I don't relate to very much because swimming has sort of, like I said, been part of my life for so long, but I appreciated and understood the fear that's involved in somebody who can't swim. The darkness of the water, the fear of not knowing how cold it is, not knowing if you're going to be able to get out, and alike. The other experience I have is being a firefighter and an EMT in the medical profession, being part of a crew that's tasked with saving lives. And I understand also the ingrained humanity that most of us have in order to try our best to save a life. With that context, let me begin. So this girl was standing in like very shallow water, and the video shows two police officers that are standing on the banks of the water, and they're talking to the girl. Now, firstly, that's the right thing to do. If you have a situation where somebody is suicidal, I was taught, you don't want to encourage that person to take that leap. If they're standing on the side of a building, if they're standing on a cliff, or if they're standing in an area they want to commit suicide in, the last thing you want to do is spook them. So the police officers at that time were doing the right thing by staying out of the water and trying to talk to the girl. There's a famous clip of this moment where the girl is standing in the water, doesn't look very deep, and the police officers are talking to her. A split-second video clip shows the girl lunging towards the deeper part of the water, off the shallower area into the deeper area. Now, this was a very special lake. This was a man-made lake, and in a lot of these reservoirs, the water goes from this to this, and there's a sheer drop-off. And everybody knew that this area was that way. It was beginning of December, very, very cold water. And unfortunately for the girl, the police officers were aquaphobic. They were afraid of swimming. They didn't know how to swim, and they didn't jump in the water immediately to rescue this girl. Tragedy ensued when the camera stopped showing that clip where the two police officers tried to grab each other by the hand and like go into the water to try to get at her. She was already in that deep part of the lake, and so the police officers didn't go into that frigid December water to rescue her. Shortly thereafter, in subsequent clips that I've watched, a police officer that could swim jumped in, but it was too late. Very sad story. Lesson could be learned there to try to get out there and learn how to swim. It's an important skill to learn swimming. I was lucky enough to live in an area that was surrounded by water. Pools at schools were ubiquitous. Every school had a pool and a swim team, and you competed against other schools. I knew a bunch of people in my area that didn't swim though. They joined football instead of joining the swim team. And a lot of those guys, the biggest, thickest, strongest guys you'd ever meet, they were afraid of water. Like, afraid. Would they have jumped in to help that girl? I would hope to say that they would. But you never know until somebody's in that situation. But there's a few things here that need to be discussed. First of all, not a lot of schools in China have pools. My daughter goes to a private school where they have a pool. Lucky enough, she can swim there. She's part of a generation of Chinese that are growing up in a different time, when things like pools and swimming and traveling around the world are open to them. But China is not like every other country. The coastline, which is the most populated area of China by far, makes up a very small percentage of the country. The majority of the country is landlocked. Even in America, we have an east and a west coast and a ton of really huge lakes, which I lived very close to. So my life experience was very different from the life experience of a lot of poor migrant families that might have given birth to a child that made their way to the coast and tried to find a place for them in the world. They didn't ever have the ability to learn how to swim, so to them, that's the scariest shit they've ever seen. I'm not trying to justify what these police officers did by not going in and rescuing that girl, but I'm also trying to say that I do understand the fear that comes into place when you're exposed to a situation like that. Now, certain folks in the YouTube community and people online chastised the police officers, some rightly so. Some of them defended the police officers. In some ways, I think you can defend it somewhat if there's a real fear of the water. Yeah. This guy's going around cleaning the lake. Hello. Tai Genjinla. Very clean.
Hey.
Yay. As a matter of fact, look on his back. He's got a floaty. He's got a floaty on his back. And so that will lead me actually into the next part of this video. So the argument was brought up. Chinese people don't know how to swim. Most of them don't know how to swim. And although there is some truth to the fact that there's a lot of Chinese people that don't know how to swim, there's some reasons for that. Like I said, geographically, if you lived inland, there was never really a need to learn how to swim. There was never an idea of even where to swim. And people didn't have the budget in life. They were focused on other things like farming and agriculture and raising a family. And swimming just wasn't part of the lifestyle of a lot of Chinese. The other argument is Chinese people wouldn't raise a finger to help somebody because it's in their blood not to. They're just self-centered pricks who, unless they're shamed into it, shame on you for not being able to swim, they won't learn how to swim. They won't learn these skills. The only way to do it is to punish them with, you know, insults and degrade them, chastise them. How dare you don't know how to swim? Bunch of losers. And the broad blanket statement was made that unless you do this, they will not change. China does not change unless there is insult, criticism, and degradation. You have to degrade them. You have to make them feel bad about themselves. Because Chinese people won't do anything good for each other otherwise. Now, my philosophy is totally different. I have a kill 'em with kindness philosophy. I have a philosophy of if you can enforce good habits in people by leading by example, then good things will come. A good story will hopefully teach people that they can be good themselves. And a tragedy can be twisted and contorted into a lesson, for sure, but you can reinforce that lesson by saying, look at what other people are doing that's good. Let's follow the lead of those people. And online in China, for every one story of tragedy where two men didn't rescue this girl from the lake, there are hundreds of thousands of stories of people doing things out of the charity of their hearts to help other Chinese people. There's not a day goes by that a video isn't posted of somebody stopping in the road, getting out of their car and walking an old lady across the street. In tragedies like earthquakes and natural disasters, you will see Chinese people band together to help one another in ways that I won't even say are uniquely Chinese, because you know what? We all have an ingrained humanity to help one another. We all do. You see stories in America, you see stories in Europe, you see stories in China, you see stories everywhere of people helping one another. It's part of who we are. And the more stories you share of us helping each other, the more people will be incentivized and informed about what they can do to help one another. To take one story and say, see this? The only way you're going to get people to swim is if you make them feel like shit. Because that's how China is. That is so disingenuous. Now, that leads me to another part. Do Chinese people not know how to swim? Well, maybe. Hello. Maybe. I got a whole crew of people out here cleaning up the lake, which is cool. I wish they had better weather to do it. It's a little... Eat again, lung, ma. Lung belong? Lung. Now, I guess everybody's informed by their own experiences, right? When I came to China, I love to swim, so I seek out opportunities to do so. And this lake behind me, Moon Lake, I swam across in January. So it's January 1st, the first day of 2013, and I'm doing something kind of unique. I'm in Ningbo and it's cold here. It was ice yesterday, and I'm going to be swimming in a lake called Moon Lake with about maybe 200 of my fellow Chinese old friends.
Okay.
Yeah, talk.
This is very, very cold water. I can barely breathe. It makes my lungs close. It's weird.
Like winter swimming. And I had a good time. That's certainly not the only time I've swam across frigid lakes or water in general. I've done triathlons in Moganshan where I swam across a reservoir and then biked and ran. And even early on, I swam across a strait. It was like the Xiangshan Strait, 6.5 kilometers across. They were building a bridge, and a bunch of my swimming club buddies wanted to swim across this. So we all met up, 100 of us or more, and swam across the Xiangshan Strait. I was not even the best swimmer. I swam in university in America. I swam my whole life. And some of these guys beat the shit out of me on the water. And I felt pretty happy about it. I like people to compete. I like to see people do better than I can. It fills me with pride. It makes me want to swim more. It makes me want to improve. That's an example, right? These guys were swimming better than me. They were showing me a positive example, and I was becoming more motivated in order to do it. I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of Chinese people that were swimming behind me and using me and the guys ahead of me as motivation to improve their swimming. I swam in Xining, which is way north in the middle of China on a winter swim. The water was 4 degrees and I swam across the Yellow River. I swam 500 meters across, but also the water was traveling very fast and I swam across and down. It was quite a distance, and if you've never done a winter swim, holy shit, you should give it a try. It is a challenge against your own physical body in order to resist the frigid water. I wasn't the only swimmer in that event. There was like 100 other Chinese and foreigners that swam with me across that frigid river. Many Chinese people can swim. Maybe not the percentage of people that can swim wherever you are, but maybe your country has more water around it. Maybe people grew up around water a lot more. Maybe swimming was more accessible when they were younger in school and they were exposed to it. Because you know what happens when you don't swim when you're young? You get old with a fear of water. You get older, and then you carry that fear with you. It's why some people are afraid of spiders way more than they should be. It's why people are way more afraid of heights than they should be. But you bring somebody from the mountain country, and when they're younger, they don't have that fear. It's a really sad state that I even have to make this video that says you should not shame somebody. You should try to teach and support somebody so that they can learn a better way. You should give them opportunities to see people doing successful things with a skill, saving lives with that skill. You also shouldn't take one split-second video and extrapolate it to degrade an entire culture. That's just wrong. I have swam all over China. People in China can swim. Some can swim very good, some not so good. This idea of labeling and chastising and shaming, it just doesn't work as good as incentivizing, supporting, encouraging. Was that girl's death a tragedy? Yes, 100%. Should you label an entire culture, all mainland Chinese, in some negative connotation because of this story? No. Do Chinese support one another and people outside of China? I mean, do Chinese in general, are they kind people? Yes. Will they save you if they have a chance? In most cases, yes. In some cases, no. But it's not just a Chinese problem. If you go online and look at how people are shitty to each other, you can find stuff everywhere. Everywhere you can find it, especially in the West right now. You have people that will not wear a mask. They will go out and infect their fellow man, and they will defend that right to the bitter end because you know what? I don't even believe that this virus is that good. They don't educate themselves. They don't teach themselves. That's frustrating. Should I shame those people? Should you try to educate those people? Should the leaders in the world lead by example and maybe put your goddamn masks on? Maybe let the scientists speak? Maybe speak some truth instead of always trying to deceive one another? Because this is the result. You get people who are saying, you know what? The people I follow say that this isn't a big deal. Even though thousands of us are dying every day, I don't give a damn. And really, I'm not trying to fault. You can find as many beautiful stories in America of people going out of their way and helping each other. I know that, 100%, because it's inside of all of us. We are humans. That's why they call it humanity. We have humanity in our blood. It leads us to the good decisions, the good helpful moments, the ways that we can help one another, because it's in us. To say that another culture does not have that humanity is fucked. China, if any Chinese people are watching this video, and you know what, on YouTube, you're probably not going to see it in mainland China, because most people don't watch YouTube. Most people in Chinese mainland do not watch YouTube. Is it because they don't have access to a VPN? Possibly. But probably more or less, it's because there's not a lot of Chinese content on YouTube. And they have no incentive to go on YouTube and watch it. But this video, if it makes it to my Chinese platforms, which I hope it will, because I end up translating, I'm doing a lot on Chinese platforms. If you don't know how to swim, if your grandpa doesn't know how to swim, if your dad doesn't know how to swim, if your kids don't know how to swim, do your best to try to learn how to swim. Because maybe you can use it in a situation like that, where unfortunately she lost her life. If those two police officers could swim and felt confident in cold water, it's possible that they would have been able to get in that water and rescue that poor girl. Do I want to shame you into doing it? No. I want to encourage you to do that. Just like I'd encourage you to do anything that I thought might be positive. And I'm not the only one. Chinese people all over the world, all over China, can swim, and their swimming encourages other people to swim. And that's all I gotta say about that. I've really frustrated me when I saw these videos come out, and instead of saying something positive, it was twisted into such a angry, negative, disgusting connotation, disgusting, that I had to make this video. China's amazing. I like China. You guys know that. But and I don't want, I don't think that would help if you just shamed people it would not work the way that I think it was being spoken to be intended to work. Come on out to the Moon Lake and join a Windsor swim. There's swims all over China, in every lake, in every river. Even when I was visiting the Three Gorges Dam, I went to see the Three Gorges Dam. It was not a green screen, it was the real dam. Anyways, I was sitting by the Yangtze River, and the river was flowing like madness. And you know what I saw? I saw people swimming in the river downstream. One of the men came out and said hi to me as I was sitting by the riverbank. Yes, people in China can swim. More and more every day. You know what they call that? Progress. Keep swimming, China. More and more every day. JaYoe. Isn't this a beautiful lake? This is a beautiful lake. And it's being cleaned by a bunch of really interesting fellas. This video went pretty long. I apologize if it's too long, but I think that I really had some words to say. So take it easy, guys. If you want to follow me online, I have a Patreon where I talk about things in a audio podcast form. You can take a listen to that and join me on social media. If you're Chinese and you have access to Douyin and Bilibili and Toutiao, you can find me there on the channel JaYoe Mata. So check it out, and we will talk to you later. I wonder if the age of winning photo competitions as a foreigner without even realizing that you had your picture taken has passed. Maybe in Ningbo it's passed. Funny stories. Got a lot of funny stories in China, and I'd like to share them. That's why this conversation series I think is nice, because it gives me a chance to share some of those funny stories. Take it easy, guys. JaYoe. Have a good day, and kill them with kindness. Be incentivized to help your fellow man and do good. JaYoe.